Hello. Okay, welcome to this week's task list. I'm going to run through this. By all means, send me an email if you would like to chat further. And if you think these videos are working, then by all means, give me a heads up. Okay, so let's run through it. Of course, it's Fashion Design 1, and these are tasks to be completed by week 5. Now, remember, this is a 6-week module, so we're heading towards the end of it. And I'm pretty sure you'll be breathing a sigh of relief about that. So if we look here, we've got a video for you to watch. Watch the following video, and it's about refining your design. So about a process that is taking your kind of initial ideas, so what we've done up until now, and refining it. Okay, so let's jump in. Look at your tasks. Task 1. Think about the video and reflect on how you can refine your concepts to better communicate your message. Now, what I saw mostly over the last 2 days is that people had kind of general ideas, but weren't able to really articulate how they could focus their concepts to communicate their message. Didn't really have a clear message. Now, remember, these messages should be about a sentence or so. Write down 3 key points that you can use. So it might be that you get feedback. It might be that you try some new ideas. It might be that you look at it from a different angle. But those key points will help you focus your message. Okay, task number 2. Think about your feedback and reflect on how you could focus it. Oh dear, you could it focused. Oh dear, you could focus it, or you could focus your how could use it to focus your concepts. Oh man, I'm gonna have to change that. Think about your feedback and reflect on how you could use it to focus your concepts. Write down 3 key points that you can use to focus your concepts. My grammar is all over the place with number 2. But what I'm saying there really is reflect on that feedback. It's not a matter of enough of reading that feedback. You want to use it as a tool to think about how you could focus your concepts. If the feedback was about exploring materials, well, that's maybe a direction. If the feedback was about making sure that your concepts actually transcend gender, okay, well, you might want to think back into your message or think back into how you communicate those concepts, or maybe the way that you've illustrated those concepts, perhaps. Use that feedback as a tool. Okay, number 3. In your sketchbook, measure each concept against the brief. Do this by creating a criteria for success based on the brief. Now, you're experts at doing this by now, and I've seen some really, really strong usage of this. Now, you might already have a basis of this, and that's great. Use that as the starting point. But make sure you read the brief and you use it to create your criteria for success. Again, in your sketchbooks, refine your concepts into one focused concept that meets the needs of the brief and your criteria for success. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. Now, maybe one of the concepts you presented this week is ready to go and is really strong and meets the needs of the brief, and maybe just needs some tweaking. Then take that forward. Maybe it's a combination of a couple of them, in which case, great, take that forward. Maybe it's none of them really, but they've all got little bits that might work together. So put them all together and create a new concept. Or maybe none of them do, and actually you're thinking a slightly different way that doesn't meet the needs of the brief, in which case create a new concept. You've got a body of research to work from there. But we want to see evidence of this, evidence of the refinement of your concepts in your sketchbook. Okay, number 5. Using this focus concept as a starting point to create a body of research that provides evidence for your ideas. Now, remember we talk about this idea of being divergent, then convergent, now doing this over and over again? Well, this is another one of those examples. So we've just focused our ideas to be our one focus concept. Now, what I'm saying is using this as a starting point, create a body of research. So research further into this concept, get some more stuff that provides evidence for your ideas. And that will give you another set of resources to draw from. Number 6, using that resource, create a series of designs, a minimum of 30, that explore your new concept. So again, we're creating they could be sketches, they could be collages, you could be draping, you could be making stuff out of fabric, you could be making little miniatures, you could be testing things. But these designs, a minimum of 30, that explore your new concept. Number 7, use your concept to select the most 5 successful designs. So using your concept as a guide, select from that 30 the 5 most successful that best communicate your concept. Now, maybe at the beginning of that 30, you had a bunch of designs already from a concept you created for presentation. Fantastic. There, I would say take those 3 and do 10 based on each one of those. And then we come back in again, so we've gone divergent, now we're coming back to convergent, and we're selecting the 5 most successful designs. Now you can use your concept or you can use your criteria for success, but of course your concept should already meet that criteria for success. Number 8, on a double page spread in your sketchbook, clearly articulate your concept on one page. So that means write down clearly your message, your intent, and your audience. Don't worry about making it look fancy, just make sure it's really clear. And illustrate your 3 potential solutions on the other. So we've gone from 5 down to 3. So we want the 3 most successful. On a new page, in your sketchbook, analyze each design, so each of those 3 designs, against the brief. Ask yourself things like, how does it meet the brief? How does it connect with my other modules? How does it use elements and principles to communicate a message? How does it transcend gender? How does it use an unconventional material? So against each design, you should have clear answers to those questions. Step 10. Using your analysis as a starting point, fully illustrate a potential final solution. This image should fill the page and use color. So what we're looking for here is one final design that maybe draws bits from each one of those 3, or maybe is one of those 3, or maybe is something completely different, but we're thinking of a big full color one page. Number 11, watch these videos of technical drawing for product design and fashion design. Using these as a starting point, create a technical drawing of your design on a new page. Now, what I'm asking you to do with this technical drawing is it's not supposed to be perfect, but it's supposed to give Sue a reasonable idea of how you might potentially create this thing. Now, obviously, we're not making the final design, but you need to have a reasonable idea of how it might be made. Now, that would also include your unconventional or unique material, how that might be incorporated. Number 12, write a list of questions for Sue for next week. Think about materials, fastenings, pattern cutting, sewing, and other techniques. Ask her as many things as you can. What I'm trying to do is to see if I can totally bamboozle and stump Sue, so I can get to the limit of her knowledge. Now, of course, she's very, very knowledgeable, so let's see if you can. And how does this fit into the grand scheme? Well, building on your feedback week is where your designs really take shape. So we've got a body of research. We've kind of refined that, or we've focused that in enough to be able to talk about our ideas. Now everyone's ideas were different. So this is where we really begin to focus your visual communication and think about your audience. If for any of your concepts your audience was everybody, well, that's way too broad. So we can focus in that way, for example. Now, if you're up to date, now is the time to really push and maximize your innovation. So really think about how you can focus that communication. If you're not up to date, it's not the end of the world. Now, you should be getting yourself up to date to that point where you're able to start into this, but think about some of these ideas as you're kind of filling in those gaps. Everyone has done a phenomenal job this week, and you've worked really, really hard, and I'm incredibly proud of you. We've got 2 more weeks to go, and you'll absolutely smash it. Thank you very much.